Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to make this bowling pin. This is a spline of, and then a revolve. So what we're going to do is figure out a way to fully constrain the bowling pin with all the measurements shown here. We want to look at the exercise provided. You can see that I've identified points 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we have a separate pair of points, points A and B. Points A and B are going to result in last. I'll explain those here just now. Hopefully it'll make a little bit of sense. So when we create the spline, any spline, the first point you create, and then additional points along the way, at the end of the spline, you will have these white control points that are off of the line that can control bend in the spline separately than the points that the spline goes through. So when we look at this example here, when we try to create this bowling pin, we have to account for all the points along the spline, and we also have to account for these end control points that produce twists at the ends of the spline. So looking at our model here, we have endpoints. This is that control point that controls twist. This is the control point that is in charge of twist. You can see it right there. You notice that it is not along the point. So we have one endpoint, a second endpoint, and then we have additional points, 1, 2, 3 additional points that are along the spline itself. So 5 total points touch the spline, and then 2 additional points control twist in the spline. To start this off, we're going to go ahead and create I'm going to create a fixed point just as a starting point. You should use your origin, but I've already consumed my origin with my example. So I have the starting point. We'll call that the origin. We're going to create a vertical line 15 inches long. Now we'll pull that dimension off to the side so it's out of the way. And now we need to add those points that our spline will be. Now we could start using the spline tool, or we can use sketch points. I'm going to use the spline tool because that's quick. I'm going to take the spline tool. So I need to add starting point, and then 1, 2, 3 spline points, and then the end point. The end point is lined up with the origin, so we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so take the spline tool, so it's starting point, and we said 1, 2, 3 points along the middle. So 1, 2, 3, and then we end it aligned with the origin. So I'll double click to end. So there are your points. So now you can see there's your first point, second point, third point, fourth point, fifth, and then the final end point. To close this off, we'll just put a line across the bottom. Now it's time to start dimensioning. We do all the vertical dimensions first. So dimension from the bottom to the top. So from the lowest point to this first white hollow point, we're going to go with 2. From that, we go up to our second point, which is 6. Third point, 10.25, 10.25. Last point, 13 5/8. Okay, and then the top point has no dimension, so we can assume that to be horizontally aligned with the top of the model. So there you go. All right. Now it's time to control the horizontal point measurements. So go ahead, the bottom is 3/4. Second one is 1 3/4, measured from the axis, from the vertical axis. Third one is 2.15. The fourth one is 3/4. The fifth from the bottom is 1.2. And the final is 8/10. As you can see, we fully constrained it. It's got a closed that section there. This one's not closed in because there's a line missing across the bottom. There you go. Now the time is to revolve this and make it into a proper bowling pin. So we'll hit the revolve button. And then we need to provide a revolve axis. I need to make sure that I don't select both of those. So when I choose this, you make sure you choose one face and one axis. You should only have one face and one axis, but I had two. When you do a revolution, it's one face, one axis. If you do two faces, you get that weird donut looking thing. There's my bowling pin. I'll name that bowling pin. And save it. And a new part appears at the bottom, part 10. I call that bowling pin. So there you have it. There's the bowling pin created from the bowling pin sketch. All of the points are clearly defined. In order to get these things to be constrained correctly, you have to have an X and a Y dimension. So horizontal and a vertical dimension for every single point, including the end twist control points. To turn that into a revolve part, use our revolution tool. Our revolve tool, we identify the face that you would like to revolve. You identify the axis that you'd like to revolve around. Give it a name. And now we have a part that we can assign materials to and an appearance of. So if I want to assign a material, I use maple. And we can apply edit the appearance of to make it look prettier, look more like a bowling pin. And good luck if you can figure out how to add that red stripe on the side. Then that a characteristic red stripe that most bowling pins have. So good luck, have fun, and as always, keep being awesome.